that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game.
Sorry, but the penguin! Oh my gosh, we are back.
Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7.
And we are... There we are. Gosh. Okay. Technical difficulties. Yeah. I guess I'm starting a tiny bit early. Sorry, Rip. Sorry. And Big Brady, there hasn't been a schedule put up for this week because my scheduling is still up in the air with the Thanksgiving stuff happening. But once everything's settled and decided, I will put up a schedule. But today's happening no matter what. So, there's that. Habits was first. I know this is a Go7 game, and look at this. My opponent, Sloop John B, chose Yellow Comet on their own. How kind is that? Hiya. Hiya, it's me, Imoen. My blast of the past. Blast from the past? For everyone that played Baldur's Gate 1. How old was I when I played Baldur's Gate? Any guesses? There's... You lost there in Smacky Cup? I'm sorry. This might make people feel old, or it might make them feel young. I was 7 years old when I played Baldur's Gate 1 for the first time. That game came out. Obviously, it was my dad's game, but I played it. I was not very good, not at 7, but I did get out of Candlekeep. But a young penguin. You made the bigly mistake of picking Eagle into Olaf on Frostleaf. Oh, Sloop defeated you globally when you were 1100. Sloop opened up the game by saying ahoy to me and then nothing else. If we see a stealth bomber today, I will be blessed with 24 days of good luck. Oh, that's good to know. A stealth and the Drake mirror. It's not something I would recommend personally. Yeah, this is round 2 of the Smacky Cup 2. also said ahoy was Drake. Hey. Yeah, I figured Drake would be the best pick for this map. I imagine for many of the same reasons that everyone else did. The airport comes online really late. It's a fairly wide map, so having the global damage hit every single front is just really strong. These captures also come on late, so you can disrupt them with your global damage and get even more benefit out of that. You actually drain the fuel on the black boat, so you don't even have to try and like rush it to kill it. You can just kind of have it sink. And you also have the double comm tower that you unlock, so it makes like Lash's bonus damage kind of pointless. So that's why I went Drake. Global damage, very impactful. Airports come on very late, so the worst air units doesn't matter. And the double comm tower, so you don't really benefit that much from getting a firepower increase as a day-to-day. You could still go Kindle. I mean, I wouldn't be upset with someone choosing Kindle, but I think she'll lose to Drake. Andy's not going to like the double comm towers. But he'd be okay. Lash, I think, would be a little bit outclassed. I'm going to guess that we both went Artie first. All right, we'll see how your guess plays out. I'll hop into it. We've got Drake versus Drake. I was just talking about all the reasons why I chose Drake and instead of the other COs, and I imagine my opponent had very similar reasons, although considering they've picked Drake before and said ahoy before, it could also be that Drake is just their CO. Play it. So looking at this map, we have like a double base down here, but the second base that comes online is very flexible. It has a path up and a path down. So you can kind of make whichever front you want to be your strong front. But the top here, or the bottom for Yellow Comet, has a base that is infantry only until this pipe seam gets destroyed. So you can build infantry and or mechs, so foot soldier only. Walk over these mountains and go for these captures. But you'll want to break this pipe seam pretty quickly, because all of these infantry going for these captures will have no vehicle backup for a long time. And that means that there's a lot of opportunity for harassment, as we'll probably see in this game. And the two ways that you can deal with that harassment is either have this middle base sending vehicles to defend against it, or you can break this pipe seam and then this base can defend its own infantry. And there's more benefits to breaking the pipe seam, because it also lets infantry from this base go into this little cul-de-sac with the mountains and gives you another comm tower, an airport, a harbor, and a city. Technically, you don't have to break the pipe seam to get here. You could just walk an infantry all the way over here, but it will take forever. So it's definitely worth your while to break this pipe seam and to do it quickly, because every turn that you don't kill it, you're kind of having this very awkward gap in your vehicle reinforcements, and the opponent can harass you all the way to this mountain, and there wouldn't be too much you could do about it other than, I guess, like spam mechs. And then down, and your comm towers on this map are insanely safe. This one is behind both of these bases, and this one's behind a base and the mountains with an airport next to it. So stealing a comm tower on this map is just not going to happen, and it's kind of up to you when you're going to capture these, because there's no reason that you need to rush it for contesting it. So delaying the comm tower capture for as long as possible is very much advisable, especially because this comm tower is within infantry range of the base. Yeah, Javier's dream map, exactly. And the reason why you would delay the comm tower for so long is because you don't get income from comm towers. So if you like took your starting infantry, or if I took my starting infantry and went over here and started capturing this, I'd be hurting myself because I'd be cutting off my income stream, and that I could be getting by going for the cities instead. So I'm going to go for up towards this neutral base, of course, and then my next route is going to be to send an infantry down to this city, so I can then go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and go for this city, and then another infantry will go over here to go for this city. I want to get these cities really quickly because they're very contestable by both streams of infantry from these bases, and as long as I get here first, I shouldn't have any problem because I can support it with vehicles while my opponent can't. But if my opponent gets to these cities first and then just has a bunch of infantry waiting to interrupt me, then there isn't too much I can do because they'll be able to unlock their base as long as I can stall the fight. So we should have a very similar opening here. Now, you have a choice. Well, not really with it. I feel like you kind of have to go here to go for this city right away, but then a little mistake I'll be making is I should be attacking this pipe seam a few times with infantry. It doesn't super matter, but like if I'm leaving here in the future, I can like go here and then to this forest and to here or whatever. And in that case, I can tag the pipe seam with an infantry, and that will make it easier to just take out with artillery shots. Assuming I go with the artillery route, I am going to plan to go for the artillery, but I want to get a recon first. I didn't go for as fast as possible recon because I wanted to have all of my captures going. I want to have an infantry, got an infantry going on this chain, not this chain, but this route, one going here, and then another one coming out to here, I think. I just want to get this section assigned all of their little infantry jobs before I start going for the harassment. But this turn I'll build a recon. Not as fast as possible, but I don't have to really rush it because there's no threat of my opponent having vehicles to stop my recon from harassing for quite a while. So I can be fine without getting punished with this slightly delayed recon. Instead, my opponent's going to go for the artillery first. So this artillery is going to definitely break this pipe seam faster than I can break my pipe seam, and we'll just have to have my recon do enough damage so that it is kind of making up for this little delay in tempo I'm going to have. I'm also, as you can see, not rushing down here to get this city. I'm trying to go for that contested city that I was talking about over here. I want to get this before my opponent can so that I can continually delay it until I get my vehicles ready. Go7 game! Now my opponent has a recon. So this recon is built from this base, which is a little bit awkward. I guess it's going to come down here to help defend. I mean, it can go up here, but this is like a hotspot base. We'll see what this recon ends up doing. So now I get my artillery, and I'm sending an infantry up to get these captures. Okay, so the recon does go up here. We're just kind of reversed. So the recon shows up, but it's a lot slower than mine, but my artillery is a lot slower. You can also see a slight difference here in our capture phase, where I made sure to beeline it to this capture. My opponent's quite a bit slower because they took some side paths into the center, which I'm not doing because I feel like these captures are very, very safe to go for. So I'll just go for them a little bit later. Now I want to hold this city. I'm not going to try and go for this city. That's way too aggressive. I'm just going to try and hold on to this city while denying this city. Just if I get 1, 2, 3 out of these 4 cities, then I'm going to be up 2k, and I'll be pretty happy about that. Okay. Sloop John charging forward, trying to get this city, and threatening to harass me. He goes for some harassment over here. Now I'm not So I'm not sure what this recon is. I can't see it. I know it exists because this infantry hit me, and I know this infantry didn't start in my vision range, so it must have something that's giving it vision that isn't another infantry, because there's no mountain to stand on around here, and my infantry will be able to see the opponent's infantry. So there must be a recon in this region, and I'm going to hope that the recon's actually in these woods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In which case I'm going to attack this infantry from the side here, because that would have me outside of the recon range. Okay. Unfortunately, the recon is actually just chilling on this road, and I'm going to send a tank up here also. I know the recon's there. And then because I know that I've got the advantage on these side properties, I'm interrupting this one, I've got this one, I've got this one. I now want to just start trading out infantry. So if we both run out of infantry and I'm just ahead in properties, then I'm going to be really happy. I'll just be living with my 2k income lead, and there'll be no way for my opponent to take it from me. So here, I make sure to hit with the 6 health infantry. I just have all these other infantry that will capture next turn. I hit with the 6 health infantry first, so this guy can remain at full health and try to take this city. I build a mech, and I have some infantry smack. So unfortunately for me, the recon was not in these woods. It was sitting right here on this bridge, so it does still see this infantry go for the attack. I think that's, yeah, also the only one that's not protected by my tank. My opponent backs off over here. Tanks aren't quite in place. Now you can see my opponent has built this tank before the pipe seam is broken, and that's a really good play, because next turn the artillery will break the pipe seam, and so next turn the tank will be able to move, and this is how you get it out there as fast as possible. Of course, I am checking the pipe seam's health, so I do know that there's a tank that's about to come out. And here I'm just going to go for all of these nice central captures. So I know the tank's not here yet. I know that recon was built. I know the artillery is built. So I believe there's a tank over here. And I know this tank is about to move out. So these infantry should still be free from recon. Here, I'm just trying to check. I just want these injured infantry to be looking at these cities, so I can tell when they might start being captured. Try and interrupt them. Here, I'll heal back up to full, of course. 10 health infantry is a lot better than 8 health infantry. The tank gets freed. It's got a little mech supporting it. This infantry gets taken out, but that's okay. Gave me the information I wanted. Then my opponent tries to interrupt this capture, which is pretty reasonable to do when you've got double tank supporting it. I get some nice central captures, and I get to take out this recon. Oh. Here I'm just going to try and wipe out as many of my... not wipe out. I want to try to go for as many of these infantry trades as I can. The reason I put my infantry here in the woods is because I know there's a tank right here in these woods because of moving out from this base. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the only way it can make it to hit this city. This guy's being a nice little blocker curtain. It's pretty annoying for my opponent to clear it out of the way. It is. So this is secure. I lose this infantry, but I do get this city. And all I have to do is now just deny it until some reinforcements can arrive. My opponent has 2 artillery coming over here, so I'm going to go for a very slow push and put the pressure on this city, which is a lot better when you own the city and you just deny it from the base. But it's a very reasonable plan. But as you can see, at the end of my opponent's turn, they're at 15k and I'm at 18k, and that's all come from just being very aggressive on these side properties and then also going for like a whole bunch of captures in the middle at the exact same time while disrupting my opponent's central game. So again, injured infantry is going to do the scouting for me. I know this tank is down here. So I'm going to go with the idea that I know this tank is out of range of supporting this fight. So I think that it's a good time for me to go in. I'm hoping that 2 tanks are out of range of the fight, but it's not too big of a deal if they're not. I don't think it's worth it for me to interrupt this capture, so I'm just going to go for the infantry hits. Because again, what I'm trying to do is just trade out all of the healthy infantry so that I can just maintain my property count advantage. So pretty much no matter what happens, even if I end up losing all the fights, I won't end up losing any properties because my opponent won't have enough infantry left. And I'm expecting there to be a big old tank brawl, so I'm going to bring a medium tank along for the ride, especially if my opponent decides to, instead of like front switch up to meet my fight, just charge forward. I'm going to want a medium tank ready to deal with all those tanks. Okay, and my opponent's going to have a comm tower advantage here for a turn due to breaking the pipe seam. I think we're going to have a slight mistake here. For Fog of War, you should really just finish off the tank rather than go for 2 first hits. It's even beneficial if you're just looking at like damage done. So this trade here, they dealt 5 damage to me and took 2, and then here they did 6 and took 2, but they could have just hit here and done 5 and took 0, which is 5 net gain rather than a 4 net gain. But it's still, I mean, this is still nice. It's just in Fog of War you much prefer to wipe out the units rather than just injuring them, because injured units still have a lot of use, as you saw with my injured infantry going for all the scouting, getting you all that information. And also in Fog of War, it's very easy to retreat with injured units and heal them up. And just let the fog help you hold the front. It's going to be one turn where my opponent has a comm tower advantage. I get to decide. I don't get the kill here, very sad. Decide how I want to deal with this. I'm just going to heal this one up, take this tank out, and bring in the reinforcing tanks to cover all of this while going for a whole bunch of infantry hits. I want to be outside of the range of this reinforcing tank, which I am, and I want to be outside the range of this reinforcing tank, which I am. Just kind of threading the needle on the that tank combat there, and then I have a whole bunch of tanks ready to dive in. And well, in the meantime, very sad. I mean, good information from the recon, seeing the mech here, which I probably could have deduced, and the artillery here. I really didn't expect this artillery to be here. I think I expected it to be in the woods. But I knew about this one, so I'm like, oh, there's double artillery and there's a mech. This recon's not going to do super hot, but I need to be a little bit careful over here with sending vehicles down. As long as I can just keep trading infantry out for infantry, I'll be really happy. As you can see, my opponent's almost out of soldiers in the south. We're also at a spot where all of these all of the cities in the middle of the map have been captured, and I just get a nice 4k income lead, so I'm even more incentivized to just trade out the foot soldiers now, so my opponent can never recoup that. Okay, my opponent kind of dived in here, a little risky. I can understand why you're feeling why feeling safe about that, but The fact that both of my comm towers are about to come online. Oh no, my opponent didn't capture the comm tower. Oh, that actually really hurts because that might have killed this guy off, and then I wouldn't have this available for vision. Okay. Here comes the medium tank. I decided to send it over here because I think I took out most of the foot soldiers on the south, so I'm not too worried about losing any fight over here. I'll just kind of retreat soon, and instead I'll send all of my tanks forward. When health infantry takes out that one, it's a nice position in the forest, and then just take out this tank. Guaranteed 2-hit KO because of the 20% firepower. And we'll just fall back down here towards a bunch of reinforcements and artillery. I'm not worried about these cities getting. I mean, I'm in range of interrupting these cities, but I don't think there's going to be any captures hitting them. My opponent makes a slight mistake here, and I'm going to make the exact same mistake actually. I'll talk about it when I make it. My opponent's being pretty smart, not diving in. Could have gotten away maybe with picking off this infantry, but it's not bad to kind of group up here. But now pretty much none of my units got really hurt here. My opponent's kind of also trading out infantry, which I wouldn't recommend because I have significant property advantage, so it's very much beneficial for me if all of the foot soldiers are just off the map and we just have tanks fighting. Oh no. Okay. So I have a choice with this infantry. I can either go and capture this harbor, or I can go and capture this city. And it does seem kind of weird, but there is a correct play here and a really bad play. Not really bad, but a bad play here. The bad play is the one that you're kind of incentivized to do, and that's to capture the harbor. Now, there's no real benefit to capture the harbor other than, ooh, it's another protection facility. You're not really going to use it on this map. But the reason that's bad is because this is a global damage mirror. Yeah, exactly. So if you capture the city and then you get hit with global damage, you heal up to 10, and then you can capture the harbor in just 2 turns. If you capture the harbor first and you get hit by global damage, you still get left at 8. The same with the one on the airport. The city will be delayed a whole turn because of that. It costs you 1,000 income. So both me and my opponent make the exact same mistake, going for the harbor capture first. And here, I'm very hungry for these infantry. I want them off of this map. And so I do. And I'm doing this to either get some vehicles to hit this infantry or to get an infantry revealed so I can take it out, and then all my cities that I have gone for are nice and safe. And again, I see an infantry. We are diving in to take that sucker out. I have a nice 4K income lead, which means every turn, or I guess every 2 turns, I could get essentially an anti-air or a tank and an infantry that my opponent would be. Day 15, no airport, yeah. Okay. 3 spots my... Oh, knew about the medium tank anyway because it attacked. Being a little too gutsy with these infantry for sure. It's my medium tank. This is to get the charge for the super. So very similar to the Olaf mirror, getting the first super is very nice. So you have that nice, get the charge advantage. And you also get a turn where you're attacking at full strength against a weakened opponent. But the super doesn't come out until the very end of my opponent's turn. So they didn't really benefit from that part of getting the super first. They're just going to have a nice charge. But in order to do that, they did have to get put in a fairly exposed position. And I actually had to go for some fights before I could get my super. There we go. Blam blam. Take out this recon, try and deal with the vision, take out this tank. I don't get to deal with this infantry, so it survives at 4 health. But it's stuck in the rain, so it has a vision of 1. So my mech can fairly safely just step forward to threaten to take this city next turn. And then because of the global damage, the capture my opponent went for over here is getting delayed for free. I'm still going to try and target down these foot soldiers. I get to see both of the artillery placements. My tanks are outside of them, but the poor recon is again inside. I just want to set up this kill spot, so whatever tries to block here, I can take it out and then capture, hopefully. And while it's raining, I want to move over here so my opponent will not be able to see it, and then next turn I'll be able to step onto this mountain and have vision over the space for hopefully the rest of the game. You're gonna take out this poor recon. Fight over here. Very difficult to navigate when you have so few units, and it's raining, so there's so little vision available. And you can see, because of how much pressure I've put on over here, my opponents had to invest all of the reinforcements on this front. So these guys are without help into a reinforcing double base. So they're gonna have like a strong start, but as the fight continues and the closer they get to the bases, they'll just kind of get wiped out. There is a Neo tank on the way, which is definitely a good answer to the medium tank. But as with all heavy vehicles, they do need quite a bit of assistance in order to get the most out of them. So here, I'll step onto my mountain and I get to see the production here. I also get to see where it goes, which is nice. Oh, in comes the recon from the top. Anti-air. This was in case my opponent rushed the airport. They could have had an airport 2 turns ago, I think. And they could have a copter on the way. I'm going to stop that and then this artillery. And suddenly this front's looking very, very good for me. No infantry in sight from my opponent. Good tank. Beat up this tank. Go for the city cap. Take out that infantry. And here I'm going to get greedy. I really should just like move here and kill this infantry, but I want to see if I can do it from the forest. I must have just missed this tank moving in here. So I do get trapped right here, which does reveal the Neo tank though. I'll move my artillery up here just in case the Neo tank was to like, if it was going to be like infantry goes here, tank kills here, and then Neo tank steps onto the shoal to kill my medium tank that's revealed, then I would be able to shoot. And I'll just start spamming some medium tanks down here. I think that'll be too much for my opponent to deal with, as long as there's some anti-air support. And indeed it is. My opponent resigns. I'm up 5k, but it's just going to go back to the 4k situation once all of these cities at the back have been captured. Although I'm about to take this one, so I'll be up 6k once that happens. GG. I can see that tank due to the rain. Okay. But yeah, so the way that the game worked out is I rushed these contested cities, and then it was just full-on bloodbath, kill off all the infantry, so I get to live. So I get to maintain the 4K property advantage. Also getting the city. GG. So this is a little bit different from what you usually see me play. I'm usually a little bit more conservative with my infantry. But yeah, once you get if you get those nice early income leads, you should trade so that, you know, if you have the good status quo, you want to maintain the good status quo. But GG, well played. My opponent went for the early artillery. It was just that the impact wasn't quite as strong as that fast recon was for these contested properties. I did like the double artillery play that my opponent made, but it was a little too late. Most of the infantry were already traded out by that point. So, Sloop John in the future should, when behind in the captures, to just try and preserve the infantry count a little bit more. And then you'll be able to get the swings. But GG, that was game 2. Oh, this is on the same map. But you know, I was talking about why I thought Drake was the best pick, and these people disagreed. We do have Andy and Kindle. Can you do that with Sammy? I would not recommend. Well, you can do that with Sammy. You kind of do that with Victory March turns, where you have, especially if you have 2 comm towers plus, so that you can have your infantry one-shot opponent's infantry on like roads. Then you just kind of take their cities and try and trade out very easily 1-for-1. You didn't get to play the map because your opponent timed out. Aw. Andy looks really tough to play in this map. Yeah. He kind of likes to have multiple fronts because his super can heal everything up, as long as there's a bunch of like small fights that he's not losing too many units in. We'll see though. Kindle's pretty good against Andy though. Howdy, howdy. You always favor Kindle in this matchup? Well, I think it kind of works like Kindle's stronger in the early game. Andy's like way stronger in the mid game. And then Kindle's a little bit stronger in the late game. I mean, they're fairly even in the late game, depending on how many cities there are. But like, Kindle's definitely a lot better in the early game, because she's got a day-to-day with the city's firepower. But man, when Andy hits that first super, he can do a number on Kindle. Because she's a very scrappy player, and the positioning of her units are really obvious because they're always going to be around the cities, and she can struggle when she gets hit with those tech changes. Was like a medium tank shows up and all she's got is like a bunch of tanks, and Andy's like, yeah, I don't care if your tanks hit my medium tank from the city, I'll just heal it with my super and stuff like that. But will we get the highest society? Yeah, but that's how it goes. If Kindle gets to high society while having like a ton of cities, then she can do a whole bunch of one shots against Andy, and that's really nasty. So far, interesting. Okay, so Ascrein's going for this city really quickly, which is okay. This isn't one I would consider very contested. It's pretty much these two. This one I think will always go to this base. This one will always go to this base, and then these two, well, especially this one can be fought over. I think both of them get chained together. Okay, so no fast recon from Kindle, which is totally fine. I would prefer if Kindle wasn't going straight up here right now, because these are, you can kind of take these last because they're so safe. Use a nice shadow. That's something similar. Okay. It is, regardless of the route, it takes the same number of turns to get there. Okay, so yeah, for both of these players, I would probably have the 3 infantry out front first and send the 4th one down here later. We're gonna go for the very fast artillery. Ooh. The Kindle's going for this really early comm tower. I do not like that just because the comm tower doesn't give you any money. If a recon shows up, this could be very bad news for Kindle. Although, Andy's kind of incentivized to not go with a fast recon against Kindle because a Kindle tank attacking from a city will always kill that recon. But if Andy can get one of those situations where he gets to like attack from a forest onto an infantry on the plains or something like that, then Andy can get away with that and just have like a normal tank hit that doesn't kill off your recon, and you run away and heal it up with your super and be happy. Okay, so we're going tank, recon. Wow. Kindle is super delaying breaking this pipe seam. This will be a lot of aggression. The only change I would do here for Kindle is instead of sending the vehicles up here, I would send them down here if you're going to go for this delayed pipe seam break. Because this is going to be the front that's starved for vehicle reinforcements for the Night Shadow, so that's where you're going to be able to do the most damage. The Night Shadow is going for this capture. It's a little bit slower than in my game, so it does get interrupted. The only thing here is Kindle should really strike from this side. So it's closer to, so it's farther away from the Night Shadow and closer to Kindle. And also it's on a plains instead of road. Yeah, I don't like the choice of sending the vehicles up here, just because it's a lot easier for the Night Shadow to actually reinforce up there. Oh yeah, and the backup penguin's able to get the smack here, and now the city will go through. We'll see where this tank goes. It has a choice. It does end up going up here. Very unfortunate for Kindle, who will get the tank smack and secure this city, so they're both going to get this contested city. So no huge economic advantage in that respect, at least not yet. The tank did not go for the swing here, a little too scared of Andy's tank. It's pretty understandable. If Andy got the tank turn earlier, the artillery hasn't been revealed yet. You don't know exactly what your opponent's gone for. Oh my gosh, Kindle's even base skipping from this base. I think the pipe seam, Kindle just thinks it's too slow to break it. Very painful to just go down to double base from triple. It's a lot less units. Okay. Do that double infantry smack. Really charging in here. We have the tank support. Okay. I guess it was just one turn of a base skip. I'm okay with these infantry going forward like this. I kind of like it a little bit more with Andy here because it's like hiding the fact that this capture is happening. Okay, I like attacking from this missile platform for sure, especially hitting the recon on the road. Nice defendable position, and it's not next to a city, so Kindle doesn't get the firepower boost. Let's go for this trade. See how Andy reacts to that. I kind of like... Unfortunately, Andy can't just like go onto the city and smack it. Infantry. Might just go back to the black boat right there. Okay, attacks here. Chilling on the shoal is kind of fine because there's so many supporting units. Even the black boat, if it wants to, can come off of the HQ. Okay, Night Shadow just decides to chill and smack that infantry. It looks like we're going to try and trade out. I'm okay. Oh man, you kind of wish it happened turn later so this tank can get involved. It's going to be a little bit out of range. 5 team is now gone. And the infantry gets to step forward as well. Go for this comm tower. I like the attack. Oh, now we have an artillery on the way. And Kindle is just gonna be really late in comparison to Andy. I don't like this tank standing around or staying here, like striking back, because Andy's injured units are way more valuable than Kindle's injured units. So if this dies, which it looks like it's not going to die, Kindle should really have killed off this tank. Because look, you can see Andy's almost halfway to the super. So if you kill this off, it's like killing off a 9 health tank, not a 4 health tank. Have the Urban Blight. The end of the turn. Not really advised. For the most part, when you're playing Kindle, you want to use your Urban Blight at the time that you can take advantage of the extra firepower you get from the cities. So you like Urban Blight, injure a tank on a city, and then you can clear that tank off of the city, and then you get to strike from that city to kill the tank off. If you do it at the end of the turn, you don't get to capitalize on that part of your power. It is going to slow down this capture. Yeah, these other tanks can just kind of run away and wait for the Andy super to show up and heal them up. I think it's probably fine to take the black boat off of the HQ here, just because you have it like a 3 health tank, and over essentially 2 turns, but 1 turn tank wise, you can heal it up to 5, which is the magic number for your Andy super. Because this turn you go and you heal it, goes up to 4, and then at the start of next turn you can heal it up to 5, and then the tank is done. Very, very aggressive to start taking this city. Not a huge fan of that. It does have a single tank backup, but that's not quite enough to... And at this point, both players are even in econ. Although once the Night Shadow gets this city, it will no longer be the case. So Night Shadow is now ahead due to the central captures. It's going to be ahead by 2k, looks like. Yeah, because of these 2 cities. So at this point, yeah, you would, as the Night Shadow, start thinking about trading out all of the infantry. Which has kind of been happening the whole game. Kindle does get a nice attack from the city. Oof. Oh my gosh, not getting that tank kill sucks so much. Because this is going to heal up to 3. Andy's going to hit the super, and they'll go all the way up to 8. All in 1 turn. Gotta make sure that infantry hit this. Okay, good. Yeah, again, here you wouldn't hit the infantry on the city. You super wouldn't hit the infantry on the city. Because, I mean, Andy's going to use the super next turn, so you'd hit the 4 health infantry. And again, over here, you wouldn't hit this full health infantry, you would kill the 2 health infantry. Because what happens when you hit this, right? You knock it down to 4. And then Andy hits the super, and it goes all the way back up to 9. Kill this, and when Andy hits the super, this is going to be a 7 health infantry. So this is like killing a 7 health infantry by hitting the 2. Ooh, and then Kindle goes for a double base skip mega tank. Oh my gosh. Well, mega tanks do pretty much one-shot everything. So, I mean, that's good for Kindle. The problem here is that it's a huge tempo loss. Both of these other bases didn't build anything, so no reinforcements there, and the mega tank's going to take like 5 turns to get to a fight. And that's going to be happening as Andy goes for all of these really nice exchanges, having in Andy's strongest phase of the matchup, the mid game, with the super just used. Like, it's, as you can see, it's very scary. Zoom, wipe out, hit the tank. I don't know why that didn't. Oh, it's because this image is going to start capturing it. Yeah. So yeah, Kindle's super dead now. We do have the Urban Blight, which will slow these captures. That tank goes in, goes for the hit. Mega tank moves out. Even skipped this comm tower capturing it. Yeah, Kindle is just super dead. Recon kills the tank. Tanks kill the tank. Artillery can even start getting ready to shell the black boat. By tank. Start going for some more captures and just killing off every single infantry. And now the mega tank is also going to run into the problem of just having no vision, because it's a heavy tank. Oh, Andy sees it now. Goes for a rocket. Like, a rocket is not an answer to a mega tank. I mean, there's no real. It'd be pretty hard to mess up the game at this point when you're like 32 units to 14. Yeah, and this is where you see one of the weaknesses of a mega tank. Copter getting range. No. So the mega tank's right here, and its vision range is 1. So it can see these tiles. It can't see any of these targets. Black boat starts getting attacked. Tank gets taken out. Artillery gets taken out. And again, there's going to be a vision problem over here now. This is just what happens when you run out of units in Fog of War. Yeah, as you can see, it's not much you can do. Copter comes over, can't see anything. Infantry spots this tank, can't do anything about it. Mega tank is trapped. It's on the road, but there's nothing over here that can kill the mega tank. Now a recon shows up. Kill off that recon. Probably should have done it from the city. Okay. Night Shadow. The kill off this black boat. She will be captured soon. A rocket for some reason. Doing rocket things. We got a bomber. A bomber's kind of an answer to a mega tank. It does okay damage. It takes like 3 turns to kill it, but you know, it'll get there. Infantry into the mountain would have been better than Copter, but I don't think. If we got here, maybe. That was like. Tank smack. Mega tank does get a hit in. Gets to smack an infantry. Copter gets a hit in. The anti-air's out of position. We have a bomber from Kindle as well. There's a bunch of tanks trying to hold the front over here. Fortunately, a rocket was built, so Kindle's not quite just dead, but really close. I don't know what Andy's doing here. You should really wait until you use probably you're going to use the super this turn because it's going to give this guy up the full to start capturing this HQ. And it'll also let this guy start capturing stuff at max health instead of 9. So I don't know what that play was there. Unless you're not going for the super, I guess. Guess that's the case. I think it was very much reachable and probably would end the game. Has the bomber on the way. It's going to be able to strike HQ. Ooh, the Mega Tank gets another kill. Yeah, at this point, the Night Shadow is way up. Unit count and value. Now we have the hyper upgrade. Now someone needs to stand in between the Mega Tank and the anti-air. Mech, the infantry, there's another base skip here too. Well, no one's gonna stand in between the Mega Tank and the anti-air. So this bomber from Kindle is going to have a very fun time of it. Bam. Kindle's still super dead, but at least this kind of worked out. We have the rocket built. To the GG. Well played. So what happened there was Kindle didn't really get a lead in the early game off of the day-to-day, and then Andy hit that mid-game. And then all the brawls just go heavily in Andy's favor. And at that point, the game's pretty much over. GG. I think I will resign or keep dragging the game on for tiebreakers. What game are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, Steeler. GG. Seraphesque has returned. Failed to load map replay. We're gonna have some illegal movements. The map being the same but different players, too much for your small brain. Oh, okay. Right, Yami. Well, nice. Surface could be. Alright. A pipe map. Trying to get inside my mind. I'll just resign all my games. I'm sorry. Oh, Mega Man Zero, are you playing in Global League? You just finished getting absolutely decimated by Yami. Right. We've got the Andy versus Drake matchup, which is super classic. Yamirequiem is now Lightning Strike. Playing on the account? Or might be Yandy. You wanted to do Global League, but your opponent challenged you instead. It happens. It happens. Shoals is an alright map. Okay, so the Andy Drake matchup is pretty classic. It's one of those where you're like, Andy just straight up counters Drake's powers, but what really ends up happening is that both players, or both COs, now just have like a different context for all of their powers. So Drake no longer just gets to pop his super to just kind of do damage, you know, press button to win kind of thing, because Andy can heal that off. You have to only press the button when you get kills, because then Andy can't heal off those kills. And then Andy would really like to be able to just use his super, kind of like we saw in that Kindle game, to just win the mid game. But there is going to be, you know, a cost to that. If Andy doesn't do enough damage, then Drake does get to have all of that damage stick on him. So Andy can instead try and rely on like normal power. One normal power for like trying to win a mid-game brawl, and then the other normal power to heal off the Drake super. Or you can just try and get like enough damage done with your own super that it doesn't matter what Drake does. And then Drake as well can sometimes just use the normal power instead of using the super, as long as that does, like, pushes Drake over the threshold to kill the anti units. So kind of interestingly, in this matchup, both the supers and the normal powers for both COs tend to see a lot more use. You kind of panic attacked and resigned. That can definitely happen. On this map, you have a third base that's chilling in between these two pipes, and also a pipe runner that you can free. So most players are going to rush artillery to break the black boat in order to get the base here. Really unfortunate for Yami, didn't have a infantry in range to step onto this river tile, which would then be able to step onto the base if it gets broken next turn. And he only does 2 damage. I guess these artillery just don't do enough damage to break it. The plus 30% defense that the base gives, just strong enough. But Drake's fun drains, though, the fun drains do not matter. You're talking about from the repairs on the cities. The seraphesque unable to get the kill, but also didn't have a. I mean, the fun drains are like slightly annoying, but you would. Oh, the fuel? Oh, the fuel drain. Oh, my bad. The fuel drain also doesn't matter. I mean, it matters for a little bit for the air units. And the other effort. But as I was thinking about the funds, this is especially true with Kindle. A lot of people will use the Urban Blight to like force the opponent to pay repairs. But it's a lot worse than you might think it is, because your opponents, like, the amount of money they have in the bank isn't impacting the fight like right now. Like, you use your power, and then if your opponent just loses some money in their bank, that doesn't change the current combat that's happening. So if you just hit them and then they heal it off, then you kind of did nothing to the field when you use your power. and then they just kind of run over you because they have their own power against you. If that makes sense. Like any damage you do to their funds is going to impact their reinforcements this turn, which will then impact the fight in like 3 to 4 turns. But if you just lose the fight in those 3 to 4 turns, it doesn't really matter if they have like one less tank that's coming in. Seraphesque moving on down here with a lot of infantry. So Seraphesque has made the choice to forsake these 3 captures in order to like go hard into this corner. I think this is a horrible idea because Yami has a base here, and whenever it builds vehicles, they can only go into this corner. So there should be a very nice reinforcement advantage for Yami for fighting in this corner in the long term. If you're trying to hold cities here, you're going to be fighting there in the long term. There's also going to be this pipe runner available to disrupt a bunch of these captures. Not these 2, but all of the other ones. This recon was just out of vision range to stop this comm tower. That's very good for Seraphesque. Yeah, I think Yami's distribution of infantry is a lot, I'll say a lot healthier. All of the captures are going to have infantry going towards them rather than half of the captures. Okay, we do have the pipe runner for both players, just kind of chilling in the pipe runner spot. It's saying it's capturing because the pipe seams are considered buildings in the game. And because the pipe seam uses capture points for its health value, and its capture point value / health is not 20, the game is assuming that something's capturing it. Looks like Yami's starting to coalesce in the center here. Which is, kind of fine. I'd like a little more stuff going on the side. I don't know how much you're going to get out of the center. It's a little bit of overkill. Pipe runner goes for the shot. There's actually a Seraphesque tank waiting to come in and give this pipe runner a smack. If you don't know, pipe runners have the same defense values as a tank. It's a light tank. They do take quite a number from harassment. Pop all the way down to 4. Because pipes and pipe seams have 0 defense stars. Pipe runners do have a minimum range. So I didn't think this would work out well for Seraphesque. But a very nice breakthrough on this little side here. Hasn't currently actually gotten any captures that the opponent has, or any advantage on the corner in comparison to the opponent, but hitting the pipe runner is pretty good. I don't know what's up with this infantry cluster. It's just kind of chilling here in the center of the map. Okay, Seraphesque gets some nice scouting. And sees the infantry cluster and is like, gimme, gimme, and I'll back this up with artillery. I mean, that's pretty good. Okay, pipe runner's just chilling back here, making sure to cover the city. Trying to interrupt that capture, yeah. Comes the copter. There's an anti-air on its way, but it's still quite a ways out. Capture on this city's also not going through yet. Yami is like, infantry cluster, go! Barrels into a bunch of artillery, so nicely set up for seraphesque here. I don't know what was up with that infantry cluster. It's going to get absolutely smacked. But just because of the distribution of the infantry early on, we do have quite the income lead here from Yami. Tank first strike. Back here, the anti-air doesn't cover. Well, I guess it does cover the tank. The copter also can't reach. That was a weird choice. Okay. That's a weird choice. Because the artillery could just kill that infantry. Having artillery in the line is pretty nice. Potentially puts your anti-air in an exposed position. Although it's guarded by artillery. Fine. I would still rather kill off that infantry with the artillery. Maybe you could even use this anti-air if you're going to put it on the front line anyway. You could like kill this infantry off. Or just keep it in the back. A little weird, but that's okay. We just finish off the pipe, the recon with the pipe runner. I don't know if that was needed. I guess it only has two real options. It can kill this infantry or it can kill this recon, and this tank can already kill this. So yeah, killing the recon makes sense. We are going to interrupt this capture. That capture with the tanks. This city is going to end up going through for seraphesque. And he's like, I'm getting out of here. I don't know what I was thinking. I agree. Seraphesque does get this city. Anti-air come down. Copter back it up. Starts winning in the center with this nice artillery bundle. Tanks start coming up here for Yami. They both have like the supers pretty close to being available. Now seraphesque has evened up the economy. Still like really far down central captures, but the sides have ended up turning up seraphesque. Okay. It's almost a death ball. The only thing this is missing is it doesn't have the outer lining of infantry. So it's kind of dangerous to keep all your tanks on the front lines because, I mean, there are artillery guarding them, so that's nice. But it just like opens up a whole bunch of first strikes your opponent could strike it. It could come at you with out of the fog. We have a Neo tank from Yami. Starts going for this comm tower capture. Seraphesque is like, nah. Charges in here, does take out the anti-air. That's why we don't like the anti-airs on the front lines. It's moving all of the vehicles at once. Okay, this is starting to form a death ball. Just use the infantry on the outskirts here. It also goes for comm tower capture. Anti-air also on the front lines. Picked off. That copter unfortunately walked into other anti-air's range, but it's an understandable move. Pipe runner shows up over here. We have some cities potentially under threat. Pipe runner's even good here. They're okay, but they're free, so. And drop off over here. This is looking very hard for seraphesque to hold. But the top here is also looking pretty hard for Yami to hold. This is the weakness of just like trying to make a death ball of vehicles. Is you're really strong in one spot, but then like the map has a whole bunch of different fronts. Seraphesque needs to make something really big happen, otherwise in a few turns here. End up going far down. Come. Ooh, okay. Seraphesque decides to use the super first. We're diving on in. Does unlock quite a few strikes. This artillery is now very sad. One gets hit. That copter knight hit there. Love that recon. Cut off a bunch of these tanks. There's still quite a few more back here. That was a pretty good attack. Drake now does have a super that sticks. It's kind of the compensation. Shoot. All this damage not be getting healed off by Andy. We'll see how much actually be done. That was a pretty scary attack. Did he kill off that copter? Yeah, pipe runners can shoot air and ground, so I do agree with hitting that copter for sure. Oh no, the one health copter lost the fight there. The Neo tank showing up. So at the end of that, Seraphesque has, I mean the brawl's still ongoing, but after the super exchange, Seraphesque is a little bit ahead in unit count, but not looking great in terms of unit value because everything took damage. And also currently losing. Deathball just retreats. Well, that's going to be good for Yami because the other parts of the map are currently under threat and the Deathball has to run away. Like, this city's going to start getting taken. Anti-air. I do appreciate that Yami is keeping these cities, so it's not just going to have a trade of the corners, which can sometimes happen. Things coming out. We got a fighter. I mean, Drake fighter is all right for sure. Doesn't get a one shot on the copters, I don't think. But if even a normal power gets used, you can see the unit value still in Yami's favor. Infantry also under threat. Yami can now just kind of transition over here. There's still this death ball from Seraphesque. So it's not quite a death ball right now. It's a little bit spread out, but it's still only in one section of the map. It's going to end up costing Seraphesque a lot in terms of money. Currently down 4k, soon to be 6k once this falls. Does stop the comm tower from going down. Threatens to take this one. And moves up on the city capture. So at this point, Drake really just wants to take the city and then just maintain the status quo. Because if you're up by 6k income, then that was a horrible play. If you're up by 6k income, then every turn you're just getting a bigger and bigger lead. So what that means is you don't want to charge forward unless you have a very convincing attack. Here we have no vision for Yami. So the Neo tank ends up attacking from a bridge and just into a lot of destruction. This is not advised. At least not without some significant vision play to make sure that your attacks aren't getting absolutely decimated, like so. Neo tank gone. Suddenly Yami is not feeling quite so healthy. Seraphesque has started to play a little bit more on the sides, which is really good. Yami does secure the 6k income lead. It should really start falling back into city captures. See? This is really good. Now these cities are going to be in seraphesque control. Yami wasn't quite in position to save those. And then we'll see if seraphesque uses the power again. It would be a bad idea. It was kind of an evenish trade because seraphesque ended up being ahead in unit count. But unit value wise, it definitely ended up being in Drake's favor. One tank does go in here to just slow this capture down. Seraphesque is not going to be using the power this turn, because otherwise we'll use it instead of taking the city. Get the death wall. It's forming behind this, so this is pretty good. Trying to force Yami to sacrifice units to try and hold these cities. Looks like that's working. The city is going to fall. This incomplete is going to start getting chipped away at here. The tank just takes out another unit. Seraphesque is being a little bit tentative, which I would agree with, considering we got two big armies staring at each other. Okay. Yami goes for the comm tower capture. We do have a rocket that's almost in range to deny this. I really don't like the rocket by Seraphesque here. The problem is if Drake hits the super, and then which will hurt all of the units walling for the rocket, and then the tank comes up, it'll just one-shot that rocket, and there's no healing on it. My recommendation is to not fight the death ball. You just try and like fall back a little bit. It has to move. Death balls to effectively move forward have to move forward at infantry speed. So I like to just pressure everywhere else on the map, and then I can, as the death ball has to like overextend to try and get anything done, I can use my reinforcement and just kind of come in from all the sides, crush the death ball. There's something in my rocket heat. It's true. Look, rockets. I did build a rocket recently, and it did a good job. The problem with rockets is that they're too slow for the amount of money you invest in them. So unless you can like build a rocket and the next turn it does something, like this is taking like 3 or 4 turns. I think 3 turns to get here. He's going to do something on the 3rd turn, which is, you know, pretty good for a rocket. Okay. Seraphesque is moving a lot of units without having used the power, so I don't think we're going to have a power this turn. It's just going to be held to try and offset the Drake super, but it's definitely a little risky, one could say. You don't want to just... being out of range of these Neo-Tanks is nice. You don't usually want to just move your army up next to the Drake army, because a lot of these attacks suddenly become one-shots if Drake uses the super. Like, this won't die, but if there was a super, that would have been a one-shot. Like, Neo-Tank will one-shot this medium tank with the super, because this will go down to 8 and this gets a firepower boost. Well, maybe it might take both comm towers to do that, but that's what will get Drake to use the super first. It's just like, it doesn't matter if you heal if all of the things I attack die. Okay, we got a bunch of Neo tanks for Yami here. Neither player using the super currently. Rocket's got a one-shot off. We have 2 bombers and a fighter back here. Okay. Fighters are pretty decent against Drake. They have really large fuel banks. They can, of course, kill Drake copters all day long. Bombers, I think, also have a decent fuel bank, but they tend to run out of it a lot more, in my experience. We have a black boat here. Oh, there is an APC, so that's going to make sure that the air units don't just kind of crash. Again, you don't really want to get too close to Drake. But the death ball is going to be a death ball. Go a little bit more play on the sides, so it's not quite so all-in-ish. Infantry. Recon. Ooh, charges in with the copter. Takes out the medium tank. Takes out the infantry. These neo tanks are right on the outskirts. Well, there are a lot of neo tanks backing them up as well. Recon backs up a tiny bit for some reason. Still a bunch of neo tanks. Okay, so the rocket fires. Bomber comes in. Infantry strike. Anti-air takes out the copter. Recon gets hit by a tank. Recon just gets trapped. The tank does get taken out, which is nice. Anti-air gets taken out. Does look like quite the escalation. Yeah. It's important not to send everything in unless they all have really juicy targets. Because you don't want to send the bomber in to like kill an infantry and then kills it. Okay, so Yami sent some units forward to kill off like a medium tank and some stuff, and then those guys get taken out by Seraphesque's other units, and now probably Yami hits the super and just tries to wipe everything. Like so. Air kill. That unit out. That one, the fighter goes after the bomber. I see. Kills super help. Rain is hurting the vision. There's no recons left for. Wow, is there not a better way here? Oh, we're one tank short from just killing this rocket. Okay, so the sides are looking pretty good for Yami, but the center does look like there's going to be some serious indirect barrages happening here for Seraphesque. Which is good. I would really have liked if Yami could have gone for the comm tower at the same time, but I don't think that's anyway. Rocket says Lash is your guilty pleasure. Funny day-to-day goes room. You're talking about Sturm? Sturm rockets are good because they go vroom. Break through here. Or kills a Neo tank. The vision is perfectly protecting these fighters currently. Okay, we're gonna spot it this there, and another fighter can go in. Strike. It's gonna end up dying for it though. So yeah, the middle fight's definitely looking in Seraphesque's favor. Mainly because the indirects are going to be behind all of these frontline units. There's the bomber. It is important to kill off the units completely, so now this fighter is probably is going to survive. It would have taken the anti-air and this 3 health fighter to kill it. And Yami's just going to back up a tiny bit. Clean that bomber. A bunch of reinforcements. 20 cities. Very nice to get rid of that nasty income lead that Yami's had for so long. We have a mega tank incoming from Seraphesque. Andy mega tanks are very difficult to kill, but they do have fuel problems as well as ammo problems. So if the APC ever gets sniped, there could be some problems. It's a ton for the poor mega tank. Join caps to try and insist that these captures go through, or that Yami does something very bold to stop it. This capture does go through for Yami though. Yami is going to do something bold. I still don't have any recon. I think there was one before, but it died. This means that the rocket is again going to get to survive. It's not a great Neotank first strike. I would in fact just not go for that hit. It gives so much charge to Seraphesque that I think it unlocks the super. Well, this mega tank is going to get some very nice value, as will this rocket again. Bop, bop. Okay, Seraphesque is not going to use the super this turn. That's probably fair. We'd only be really healing up that Neo tank at this point. That was very painful for Yami. It does go straight for the Typhoon. This rocket's down to 1 ammo and 7 fuel. I think down to 20 fuel. There is still this APC. Oh. The Neo tank does get picked off, which is nice. Indirect kills. Infantry. Tank. Wow, oh my gosh. Take out the tank indeed. I think the artillery doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, for the most part, that's pretty decent. Seraphesque is definitely going to use the super. Heal up all the damage. Right on this side, try and take the city back. If Yami's able to just completely trade out on all infantry, then this would be another case of keeping the income status quo. And we're getting really close to that, but at the same time, so many vehicles have been going down as well that it might not be quite so easy to just keep it as a stare off afterwards. That does get some disruption here. Okay, her backs up. Time to run away from this army for sure. Hitting the infantry makes sense. No way to stop this capture. That's very good for Seraphesque. And again, we're going to go for this one with some big boys blocking the way. Seraphesque is insisting that this capture goes through. Definitely a little risky to just have the Neo tank on the front line there. Indeed, it does die. And then Yami interrupts the capture and then resigns. GG. Probably doesn't have to resign there, but the indirects are going to get a lot of damage done. And did have to leave this side in order to go for this attack. I think it's an okay resign. The game is definitely still ongoing. Yami is still up by 4k. But we're going to have a mega tank to answer the mega tank, but it's too late. Reach. Gee. I didn't feel like 36 days. This rocket did end up getting quite a lot of value. I was very skeptical of it, though. I mean, it took a while to get value, but once all the fights start happening and Drake just doesn't quite have enough vision to spot the breakthroughs to kill it, it worked out. We have Trixtercat versus headpats on Sahara. Oh, it's this map. Oops. I have a question. Would you mind giving a lesson on how to retreat? So usually what you do when you retreat is you don't let a front die. You're going to be falling back until you have infantry in like max range to interrupt any property they might go for. And you want your vehicles far enough back that your opponent will have to overextend in order to hit you. And the overextending means they're moving a whole turn away from their base and a turn closer to your base. So your reinforcements will show up a turn earlier, and their reinforcements will show up a turn later, giving you a very significant firepower swing. So the retreating is usually to try and lull your opponent into overextending. But yeah, you won't fall back like all the way. You're gonna fall back a turn, and you want to still have units guarding the cities, unless you're just completely getting destroyed on that front, in which case you can try and just completely retreat to another front and try and just trade the sides. Sturm destroys grid. You like this map? It's a pretty fun map. Grid had a really hard time dealing with the Sturm recon harassment. And the Sturm rockets are also an actual force against Grit as well, because they can position themselves in the forests really well to kind of fight Grit indirect versus indirect. And if Grit ever tries to make a giant ball of indirects, the Sturm meteor can ruin their day. And if Grit ever gets to the point that he's got like 7 rockets, they can't actually stop just like 4 mega tanks from Sturm. Those mega tanks will take very little damage, and they'll just one-shot everything. Going Sturm vs. Grit was great in Smacky Cup? Question mark? I'm more familiar with it for High Funds Fog. Okay, so no one's going for some hyper aggression with recons. I think it's pretty good on this map because of all these shoals in the center, and you can front switch very nicely. But that's okay. Headpats from Senpai is going for a tank first, followed by an artillery. I mean, that's a pretty good combination. As long as the artillery can keep up, then you can like hit something with the tank, and the artillery covers for when the max tank goes for a counterattack. And oh, okay, never mind. That's not how we're going to do this. Looks like we're going to have the artillery either supporting on this side, which is pretty good because Max is going to try and just like destroy it, or into the center. I'm not as happy about the artillery going into the center because they're going to have a hard time dealing with potential max copters that like get there in just 2 turns. Or 1 turn, depending how close you are. Ooh, okay, we are going to have the artillery going into the center, followed up with the Eagle Copter. They will work to help get this one city. This is a lot of investment to get this one city. We'll see if it works out. What tends to happen on these sides, which is going to favor Eagle a lot, is that a ton of infantry build up, and you can just kind of bring 2 artillery with those and take all of these cities. You're way too used to playing against AI. Yeah, the all of the lessons you learn in playing against AI kind of make you very vulnerable when playing against actual people. They don't make the same kind of decisions that the AI makes. The headpats from Senpai charging on in here. We have the copter in range of the other copter, so this is kind of inviting a copter to be built here. Make a copter chain, and that's exactly what we see. Copter tank. And Trixtercat did not opt for going for a copter chain, so this poor copter is all on its own. These artillery are... This one's guarding this tank, and this one's guarding the other artillery, essentially. And looks like Max is going to just try and interrupt this capture. We do have a really nice sacrifice. Unfortunately, the sacrifice... So what does the sacrifice unlock? It doesn't unlock an infantry with just like base or even like a single comm tower. You'd have to have a significant amount of extra firepower to get this kill with just an infantry. But it does unlock a tank killing this guy from just one side. The sacrifice wasn't really needed. So you could just like have tank and then infantry strike here. You want to have the copter strike at the top. So this is going to be essentially a tank for a tank. This artillery is going to shoot this tank. This copter goes for the first strike here. That's not going to end up working out super nicely for Max because this is a chained copter. So this little helper copter is going to just absolutely win this fight, like so. And this one's going to come in and help take out this tank, I assume. Ooh, it lived at 1. But the city is denied throughout all of this. So I'm surprised that these artillery in the center have been working out as well as they have. We have another artillery. I assume it's going to join all of these infantry. They're moving up here. And this is a nice position for headpats from Senpai, as these copters are able to cover both the center and this front. So if Trixtercat gets a little too feisty either side without enough coverage, then we'll just kind of unleash the copters to hold the line. For instance, this anti-air doesn't actually cover this infantry. Ooh, but this copter doesn't actually hit it either, so it's okay. It's a little spicy. It's okay. Very important to make sure that this is the... I don't think it actually matters, but it's important to make sure this is the healthy infantry, because that's the one that's stopping the anti-air from hitting this copter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You would want a tank to just like one-shot it. A little weird to trade a 2 health copter for a 1 health tank, because like this copter from Max isn't doing anything. I would much rather have a 2 health copter. If this was attacking and it wasn't getting hit by a copter in the back, then I'd be much more happy with that. Okay, the artillery, maybe these are all going to switch over here, but yeah, currently these infantry don't have artillery backup, and they would really like it. In, yeah, the copter just gets taken out there. Ooh, very nice little walling here from Max. Actually means that this city is going to get captured because these artillery are not in range to hit these. So nicely done. You know what? Even after all that, I don't lose morale. I want to get better. You want to be able to reach 1,000? Oh, you'll definitely get there. I think a bomber here to guard the tanks. Oh. Trixtercat. That's a gutsy move. I'm not sure why the bomber was built to guard the tanks. Tanks don't actually need guarding. The only thing that can hit them is a single tank. That's from Senpai. Now the artillery starts moving up here, which I like to see. Bomber moves over here. It's very risky to build a bomber against. It's pretty risky to build heavy units in general against Eagle, because Eagle can build their counter and then just strike them from really far away when the super comes. Like for instance, if this is not the case, but if headpats from Senpai as Eagle here had the super, this bomber would get hit. Like it goes to here and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 smack. Like that's how difficult it is to keep a bomber safe against Eagle. So usually you just don't opt to build them because that's a huge headache. Be like, it needs to, I have to make sure it's 12 or it's like 13 tiles away from every anti-air or 19 tiles away from every fighter. Like, it's a huge zone of control. Bomber goes in, kills an infantry. When you get the damage you can. Trixtercat's going for some harassment over here. Headpats from Senpai doesn't have too much actually supporting this front currently. Everything in the middle seems to have ditched for both players. For tank first strike. Look like Trixtercat's probably going to go all out over here pretty soon. I do like this copter coming over. It could have hit this infantry. Yes. Oh, maybe Trixtercat could go for the super. You have the double anti-air over here, so the bomber can't just kill one anti-air and get away with it. Trixtercat just falls back. Ooh, Trixtercat got both of the corners, which is really nice. These are very hard or very difficult cities to flip. It's really hard to get the infantry out of here. Not many tiles. Ooh, headpats from Senpai finds breakthrough here. I don't know if this tank had chip on it or if headpats from Senpai is just like, I'm just go for the roll. It's about a 30% chance to kill a tank on a city with 2 tanks if you have a single comm tower. If it had chip on it, then that could very easily be a much better odds to go for. Here's a bunch of artillery as well. It's probably worth the risk for it. Well, I would agree that it's worth going for because there's so much stuff backing up the things. If I did advanced Words by Web classes, you'd be a diligent student and take notes. I mean, that's kind of what the streams are, sort of, sometimes. The max blast. I have to try and... Ooh, don't do that. The problem with doing this is it takes a long time to heal this bomber up. And it blocks your airport this whole time. So you can't produce any more air units while repairing the bomber. And the game will probably end before this bomber heals. Unless you want to heal it just to 4. Okay, so we're going to see an absolutely devastating board wipe here from headpats from Senpai with this Eagle Super. The max units are very far forward, which means that you can do a lot of setup. I mean, that's a mistake, I think, right? This anti-air already kills both copters. It goes here, kills this copter, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will kill this copter. So no need to use this anti-air over here. It can do something else. Beat up that anti-air. Select the tank for the HQ. This anti-air decides to go up here. I guess it's going to join in. I guess this is going to be the one that kills both copters, and this one's going to kill an infantry. Ah. I don't like forcing a tank to kill a 3 health infantry. I'd prefer to have this anti-air just kill that and then have this tank do something else. I guess it is going to do something else. Okay. Ah, the anti-air is going to kill the medium tank. Okay. I mean, it's all good. Should probably not let this go, but it's not the end of the world to do so. Like this cute little infantry block. The anti-air can't reach the copter. And yeah, that's a pretty strong attack. Max does end up getting this city. Could probably take some more cities here, but loses in the center and loses up here as the HQ is actually a threat. I would have preferred to have built an infantry over here though, because I think this front's under a tiny bit of pressure, one could say. So it kind of needs the units more than this does. Okay, we have a 4 health bomber now. Starting to move out. Let's flip. Nice shot. Down goes the tanks. We're going to finish off these infantry and then start heading over to this HQ. We're going to start building medium tanks here, I assume. You're going to want at least an anti-air back here so the bomber can't just block you. Okay, a rocket. A rocket works too. That's probably better than a medium tank. And then the double base skip so you can get a medium tank. We're just going to sack this corner. I would not advise doing this, but it will probably work. This is kind of going all in on the HQ, and you should really only go all in on an HQ if either it's completely guaranteed or you're kind of losing the game. Because if you're already winning the game, then you can kind of just keep winning the game. If you go for an HQ attempt and it fails, that usually costs you all of your advantage. The helicopter sacrificed itself? Are we going for like the Eagle normal power? What? R? Okay, lightning drive? Must be this must be to guarantee the HQ cap. It looked very guaranteed from my point of view. I like the rocket running back here and guarding against this, guarding the HQ. And Trixtercat has resigned. GG. See, as long as you go for the HQ and it's guaranteed, you're fine. GG, GG. most useful eagle normal power. It did seem to work to kill that that anti-air, so that's very good. Check, yeah, the money swing on the eagle super, yeah, that was very good. That's not bad. This does 100% get the I do really like the rocket lock, but I would not advise going from a winning position into an HQ race, because sometimes you'll lose those HQ races. It's a one game. But headpats from Senpai was ready. And that will be our final game for this stream. I don't know when the next one's happening. It might be Wednesday. It might be Friday. I'll let you know when I know. But until then, have a nice time. Thank you for watching. And here's an apple! One of the Thanksgiving apples. Thanks for watching.
It's Go7, king of the penguins. Of all the penguins, he is king. It's Go7, king of the penguins. Being king of the penguins, that's